That's number one. Number two, we don't have a leader. Number three, I was asked to put this out as far and wide as I could, and I have had that capacity for several years. Excuse me. In the process, I became a spokesman, and I do not mind speaking so long as I have certain details. And I know what those details are and their sensitivity. Okay, the differential is that yes, there will be a group of people, both civilian and military, that will be in charge. Now, what you got to remember is this. It will be made publicly known, it will be publicly enforced that this is a temporary situation until such time as we, the people, and that's everybody collectively, okay, understands that we have to first pick and choose among different forms of structure. That's the first thing that has to be accomplished. Okay, the second thing that has to be accomplished is how to implement that structure down to a local level, where somebody in Washington, D.C. is not controlled in terms of what they feel they need to do by a law that governs California. So what you're talking about is scrapping almost the entirety of everything everybody's familiar with and starting over from scratch. This is going to take everybody in this country a bit of time, a whole lot of effort, and some plain old everyday elbow grease. This is not going to be a group of people saying this is this and that's that. That is not going to happen. We already got that problem, and this is what we're attending to. We're going to get rid of that problem. The basis of it is that when it is restructured, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again. In short, everybody is familiar on this call, and everybody that can hear me, and anybody who has listened closely to some of my interviews will find that the basis that everybody knows as the federal government, almost all of that is going. They don't need it. It's not necessary. There will be a certain amount of things governing the interrelation between states and the people. We have used the founding documentation that I've already listed to augment our meaning and understandings that our Declaration of Independence, the same one that was given once before, we resurrected. And under that, I believe it's paragraph 2, states that when a government becomes repressive and the people can't stand it, they have the right to remove that government. This is basically what is taking place. There will be certain people put into certain key positions so that the system we have does not fully collapse. We do not want to create chaos. However, those will be temporary positions only. At a certain end of the period of time, they expire.
So how long will we be under military rule? How long will we then be under military rule?
You won't be under military rule. I'm going to say this very clearly. You will not be under military rule. There will be a temporary commander-in-chief that will be appointed, okay, to do several things with limited powers.
Appointed by who? Appointed by who?
There's a combination of people, both in the states and a combination of people in the military, who are in the process of trying to figure out who might best fit the position. Now, the position.
And when will we know who they are?
Well, that comes out after the mass arrest. This is what I'm saying. You're going to have probably a week or so of presentations. Here's what this is. Here's what has been done. We need the individual people to go to their local voting booth, which is going to be open 24/7, so that you can make these decisions. We are not making these decisions for anyone. However, in the interim, in a short period of time, and it expires under a specific time limit, okay? As an example, the commander-in-chief would attend to executive orders that are anti-constitutional and treaties that are unconstitutional, as well as other unfunded mandates, etc., that are not only unconstitutional, but in large portion illegal. These things, this person will be rescinding these just as fast as they can go for a time limit. Now, if they get done with that job before the time limit, they're allowed to step down, unless somebody wants to keep them. If they like the job they've done, if they like that individual, they think that person can do the job, you vote for them. Bingo.
Thank you, Kathy, for calling in.
Yeah.
She's gone.
Okay. All right. Mudsy had a whole bunch of other questions that she wanted to ask.
Go for it.
Okay. Drake, and I realize some of this might be sensitive, and I honor your confidentiality. If this is something that you cannot discuss, please feel free to decline. Number one is last night an article came out that it is official that Obama is unofficially qualified to be president. I'm wondering, number one, if it's true. We've seen all the documents. Number three, is this a way to get people used to the idea that Obama's going to be removed?
It's a combination of that. First of all, the problem that's going on is a current adjudication as to whether or not his birth certificate can be admitted as evidence. That's critical. The reason being is that the Obama's own lawyers have stated that it is a fraudulent birth certificate and cannot therefore be admitted into evidence. Problem is that it has already been set as precedent that it is his birth certificate and that it has been officially established as such. This means that it can be admitted, which means he never held the office legally to begin with and can be arrested for fraud, which comes under treason, by the way. As far as the rest of it goes, you're looking at adjudications. You're also looking at a combination of people coming up with legislation to rectify the problems we've got now. So, you know, like I said, it's going to take everybody to work on these things. It's not just a singular thing. One answer does not fit all, just like one size don't fit everybody. And it's going to have to be very carefully crafted so that one portion of the country is not subject to something that came out of another portion. It's going to have to be done in such a manner that certain differences between, say, city people and country people, you don't have a law that impinges upon the freedoms on either side of that. You're going to have to be a very, very balanced take on everything. Does that answer that?
Yeah. Can you extend that into Panetta? Panetta has admitted that he's taking orders from Rothschilds, basically. Has his power been usurped? Are we protected from Panetta?
What you got to understand about that is that that's a pretty bold, rash, truthful statement. As you know, I have stated more than once on several different interviews that the bankers are the problem. Well, what you have to understand is that people in government are owned by the people who donate to their cause. They are owned by the mortgage company that holds the mortgage. If you look at these people closely, you'll find that there is an interrelationship between their personal holdings and, like the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, you name it. And this has been common practice. I don't care who makes the laws so long as I get to control the money. I'm in charge. There's Rothschild right there. So, you know, now you know who's giving the orders. Now, that person is don't even live here, and I don't see where he gets off with that. So, what we've got right now is that the military is objecting to that strenuously. I'm not going to say how far, but it's gotten pretty nasty. They're tired of having some foreign entity who has no more interest in this country than the fact that they can make a buck off of us, telling our Secretary of Defense what to do. I mean, that's like Israel sends our troops to war. You've heard these ideas on these different radio stations and whatnot and different blogs. Well, now you got somebody saying it out in the open. This is what I meant when I said that these people feel like they're Superman, that nothing can touch them. They feel like they own it, which they do for now. The problem is we need to remove them, and this is in process. Okay?
I would like to make a comment on what you're saying, if I may. There's a comment in the chat room about the government is an illusion. Well, yes, you can look at it that way, but to be more accurate with what you're saying, the government is fraudulent. And until you learn the fraudulent ways that they dictate and control you, they're still very much here, and we still have to very much deal with them, and we have to balance it and put it in perspective and understand it. And that's what they don't want. They don't want you to know how it works. They complicate everything with words and everything else, and it's much simpler than anyone understands or realizes. So what we're trying to do here is simplify everything so that people understand these acts, statutes, codes, rules, regulations. They don't have 3 letters, and that is LAW. They have codes, rules, regulations, statutes, or acts, which are not laws. They're simply codes that we are supposed to abide by through tacit consent. Tacit consent being silence. So you're giving your consent with silence. So that's why it's important for everybody to voice up and say, no, that's not acceptable to me. And your thoughts on that, Drake?
Take this job and shove it. I ain't working here no more.
Thank you.
All right, we have a caller from the 207 area. 207 area, your name and the city you're calling from, and what your question is, please.
I just got onto the call. I don't have a question. I'm from Maine.
This is not a listen-only chat room. You go to wolfspiritradio.com and go to listen chat, please.
Drake, can you discuss Yale University and their housing, the Skull and Bones Brotherhood death? And what do we see happening with the universities being cleaned out from these horrendous criminals being groomed?
That's going to be just about as thorough a cleaning as what's going to be expected in the government. To go along with that, some of the better known names in education are going to be disbanded simply because they teach people how to operate in terms of the cabal. They teach people how to be crooks, and this is not the idea or ideology of higher education. Higher education is something that should bring a person to the realization as to how many facts and how much impact a combination of ideas has in a given direction. To also cause a person's imagination in whatever field they've gone into to be switched on. Well, what if? Well, maybe we could. And the process, these processes are going to be extraordinary. These are not something that people are going to take lightly. And when things are found out, as to the changes in history, so that it better suits the new communist order that's supposed to be coming, better known as New World Order. When they find out exactly what all's been going on and how things have been subjugated to fit an agenda, facts are